And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hard Hats TV coverage of day two of the fifth annual Veterans Classic, coming to you live from Dave Blue Field in Rapid City, South Dakota. And good morning. We bring you the great game of baseball, America's pastime, on the final day of May 2024 as we bring you a six-game showcase. Mike Fell with you this morning. Oliver Fell will be with you throughout the day, and I'll be back with you at some point this afternoon as we bring you the very best of Legion baseball around the Intermountain West and the Midwest with teams from all over, from Nebraska and South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, and Nebraska. And here we are. We have ourselves some great baseball weather. Not really, but we have a damp day without any hard showers. So we are ready to play baseball coming up this morning at 7:30. We hope we're going to have a beautiful day. The forecast seems to indicate that this type of shower activity will not be persisting throughout the entire day. So hopefully we're playing a lot of games under the sunshine. There's a chance of some severe weather to the east of us, we're told, but signs indicate, according to meteorology forecasts, that most of the severe, if not all of the severe weather, will be to the east of our broadcast position here in Rapid City next to the Black Hills. Well, we're happy you're with us. We bring you game one of day two of this pool play from Fitzgerald Stadium, and it's a battle of 1-0 teams. The winner of this game will find themselves in the driver's seat early on in pool play. This is a very big game for Cheyenne Post 6, who won yesterday by a score of 8-0 in 4 innings, and over the Rapid City Shooters. And for the Huron Post 7 Tigers, they were victorious 12-0 as Lane Wetzel came just within one strike of accomplishing a no-hitter in a masterpiece shutout performance, with Huron Post 7 rolling to a 12-0 victory over the Outlaw Baseball Club from Miles City, Montana. So here we are. We begin day number two with some exciting action. Winning teams matching up. Huron Post 7 versus the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers. The Sixers made it to the Final Four of the American Legion World Series in Shelby, North Carolina last summer. They said goodbye to Colton McAnally, who is playing in the Big 12 for Utah, but they have an outstanding program. Cheyenne Post 6, of course, the program that gave Wyoming its first everyday major league starting player, Brandon Nimmo of the New York Mets in the National League. And the Sixers have come out and taken the field in their classic, and I mean classic, Comiskey Park style, Chicago White style uniforms. You can almost see Greg Luzinski if you blink, and Harold Baines, Hall of Famer Harold Baines. Of course, the Chicago White Sox of the early 80s were the very first team that Hall of Fame skipper Tony La Russa managed back in the old American League West. Well, we're happy you're with us. Mike Fell with you on a damp, chilly Friday morning. Oliver Fell at the controls with the scoreboard. And let's get to the starting lineups, why don't we? First, for the visitors in this neutral site game, the Huron Post 7 Tigers, Bubba Peterson will lead things off and play short. Batting second, it'll be left fielder Tanner Gilbert. Hitting third this morning, center fielder Logan Leyendecker. Logan was 3 for 4 in yesterday's victory over Miles City, Montana. Batting cleanup, the winning pitcher and almost no-hit pitcher Lane Wetzel from yesterday. He's playing first base. Batting fifth, it's starting pitcher Jack Peterson. Hitting sixth, second baseman Jackson Matke. Batting seventh, catcher Colton Ogle. Hitting eighth for Huron Post 7, it's third baseman Tommy Martin, and batting in the 9 hole, it's right fielder Brandon Flowers. So for Huron Post 7, it's Bubba Peterson, Gilbert Leyendecker, Wetzel, Jack Peterson, Mackey, Ogle, Martin, and Flowers. And Jack Peterson draws the start on the mound for Huron Post 7. We'll get to the lineups for Cheyenne Post 6 as we bring you the bottom half of the first inning. Mike Fell with you on board for the first pitch of our comprehensive 6 game showcase here in day 2 of the Veterans Classic. Bubba Peterson waits for the first pitch from Hayden Swain, and that pitch is fouled out of play, and we are underway. Hayden Swain, the starting pitcher for Cheyenne Post 6, saw him out of the bullpen when Cheyenne Post 6 hosted the Post 22 Rapid City Hard Hats last month. There is a swing and a miss and a foul, and quickly Swain moves ahead of Bubba Peterson in the count 0-2.
I was going to say, I have not seen Swain at all pitching wise in any of the games I've broadcast so far. But they're reaching deep going into this tournament. They expect to go all the way.
The defending champs from the tournament. There's a nubber in front of home plate, and there's a quick throw down to first. That'll be a 2-3 put out if you're scoring along with us. Completing the play there was Caden Westby, the starting backstop for Cheyenne Post 6. Tanner Gilbert now, the number 2 hitter in the lineup for Huron Post 7, steps to the plate. Hayden Swain, a right-handed pitcher, kicks, fires, and absolutely drills the ball into the turf before it even got close to home plate. It's early, folks. It's early. Tanner Gilbert now ahead in the count 1-0. We're happy to have you along with us, whether you're watching from around Huron or southeast Wyoming. Thrilled to be with you here at the Veterans Classic, the 5th edition of the Veterans Classic, which was won last year by this Cheyenne Post 6 baseball club that defeated First National Bank North Platte in the championship. And there's a ground ball base hit into right field, and the first of a long hit parade over 6 games is underway today as Tanner Gilbert comes through with a base hit, no doubt about it, right between the second baseman and first baseman into right field. And now here comes Logan Leyendecker. If you're here on Post 7 and you lost a set of opening games to the Yankton Legion, the Yankton Legion team within the last week, and you just came off a big win last night, you'd love to get the early lead. This is a very important moment, I think, for Huron Post 7 to try to break through against this outstanding, perhaps a couple of contending favorite teams here at the Veterans Classic. Logan Leyendecker's first pitch he sees as a strike, second pitch is a ball. Hayden Swain, just a good all-around player. Cheyenne Post 6 team said Ty Lane, quick to mention that they modeled their program after Rapid City Post 22, and you can see a lot of similarities. The thing, though, that sometimes jumps up with Cheyenne Post 6 is the defense. You tend to see a lot of hitting, a lot of runs, a lot of great athleticism, but sometimes the defense is an issue with Cheyenne Post 6. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Logan Leyendecker, and that's over for strike 3. The umpire with a very demonstrative call. I like when home plate umpires let you know when it's a strikeout.
Yeah, have some fun with it.
Have some fun with it. We're having fun. We're at a baseball game. So there's the first strikeout of the game. Hayden Swain strikes out Huron's Logan Leyendecker. And now here comes Lane Wetzel, who was just one pitch away from a no-hitter before Garrett Hodge was able to get a base hit into right field and break up the no-hitter yesterday for the Miles City Outlaw Baseball Club. First pitch is over for a strike to Lane Wetzel. Second pitch is also a strike. We're happy you're with us. It is a cool morning. In fact, right now it feels like 48 degrees here in Rapid City with light rain showers and 50 degrees. Our window to our press box is closed as there's a throwback to first and Tanner Gilbert slides in securely. Lane Wetzel down in the count 0-2. Hayden Swain one strike away from putting up a 0 to start this ball game. Swain fires to home plate and the ball is popped up. It may be inside the ballpark and it will be out of play in the first row.
Matter of inches.
We have some fans here, some good fan support for Huron. I'd say Huron has at least
20 or so.
20 or 25 fans out here this morning. Huron, by the way, will play the next game against the Peltz construction team from my old radio town of Alliance, Nebraska. Count is 0-2. I give a shout out to Mike Glessinger, the voice of the Alliance Bulldogs for many, many years. Buddy of mine. There's a throwback to first, and tag is applied, but not before Gilbert's hand touches first base. A lot of attention given to the base runner here when just one strike against Lane Wetzel would end the inning. Here comes the pitch to Wetzel, and that is a ball, and sliding in, stealing the second base bag is Tanner Gilbert.
I guess that's why they kept checking on him.
I guess, but I always think finish the job at home plate. I just feel like anything.
You're distracting yourself too much.
If you can distract yourself, you're making it harder for yourself. That's always been my philosophy with the game of baseball, and for that matter, life in general. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Wetzel, and that pitch is outside for ball 2. I'm not saying just let the base runner just jot all the way to third, but I mean, it's not the end of the world when you've got the hitter down 1-2 in the count and there's 2 outs. So here comes the 2-2 pitch to Wetzel.
It'd be absolutely massive if they can even get one run off Cheyenne here. It would send a message.
Would really change the dynamics of this game, which on paper does not look close. The ball is hit hard to center, but playable. Calling for it and making the catch. A can of corn in center is Nolan Horton, and that will end the inning. So, Huron post 7 in the top of the first inning, held scoreless. There was one hit. There were no runs, there were no errors, and there was one man left on base. We head to the bottom of the first inning, no score, here in Game 1 of our 6-game presentation of Day 2 of the 5th Annual Veterans Classic. Let's now bring you the starting lineups for the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers. Leading off, a phenomenal player, shortstop Mason Tafoya. Mason with tremendous speed. Center fielder Nolan Horton, he will bat second for manager Ty Lane. Hitting third, it's right fielder Corey Williams. Corey is a tremendous ball player. Batting fourth in cleanup, Jackson Garrett, he will man first base. Hitting fifth, the younger brother of Post 6 Sixers legend Colton McAnally, it's designated hitter Landon McAnally. Batting sixth, left fielder Braden Pearson. Hitting seventh, playing catcher, Caden Westby. Batting eighth, the third baseman, Ethan Reinsdorfer. And batting ninth, another great ball player, second baseman, Cade Coates. So for the Sixers from Cheyenne, Wyoming, it's Tafoya, Horton, Williams, Garrett, McAnally, Pearson, Westby, Reinsdorfer, and Coates. And on the mound for Huron Post 7, it is Jack Peterson, who is not, by the way, a brother or blood relative to his teammate, Bubba Peterson, that is at short. and we are ready to go with the bottom of the first inning.
I gotta say, some solid velocity being shown here by Peterson. Um, Huron, of course, great pitching in game one. That really is what propelled them, along with the heckling of Brady Feenstra.
Yeah. By the way, I just we want to throw it out there to Brady Feenstra. You are a legendary heckler. You are probably the best heckler the Veterans Classic has seen in half a decade, but it's not good to poke the bear, so to speak, with this Cheyenne Post 6 team. We'll see if maybe Feenstra's heckles are all positive heckles to pump up his
I mean,
teammates.
he was
That's
calling people beautiful yesterday.
yeah,
Those were positive.
yeah, that's true. He said that the Miles City pitcher had beautiful eyes. That was absolutely a classic heckle. It just heckling is its own craft. Here comes the 1-1 pitch from Peterson, and it is outside, and the count goes to 2-1 to Mason Tafoya. Absolutely love these old time early 80s Chicago White Sox uniforms
Ooh.
that the Sixers are wearing with, of course, SIX, not SOX, across the band in the middle. Count now goes to 2-2. Peterson's pitch is fouled down the third base line, and we will do the 2-2 count all over again. Major League Baseball happening several hours from now. Matchup tonight draws my interest, my favorite NL team, and there's a pop up, and there's out number one, and Tafoya pops up to the first baseman Lane Wetzel for the first out of the bottom of the first inning. So Jack Peterson retires a very dangerous leadoff hitter in Mason Tafoya. That's an F3 if you're scoring along with us. And now here comes Nolan Horton. Horton is a clutch ball player. He really came through with some timely hits. He's a great situational hitter for Cheyenne Post 6. When Cheyenne was able to split a doubleheader and win an 8-inning classic against Cheyenne Post 22 back in late April, Nolan Horton had the game-winning hit in that ball game for the Sixers. Here comes the 2-2-2-0 pitch, and Horton hits the ball to center. Looks like it will be caught, and it is caught in center field by center fielder Logan Leyendecker, fine ball player for Huron. And that's 2 up, 2 down to begin the bottom of the first inning. And even though Huron didn't put up any runs in the top of the first, they did get on base. They made the pitcher Hayden Swaim for the Sixers throw several pitches, and now Huron looking the part of a 1-0 team in this tournament, not a 1-2 team overall. Here's a pitch inside, and the count is 1-1. Mike Fell with you. Happy to be along with you. I'll be back with everybody later on this afternoon. There's a ball struck right at the second baseman. Cleanly played. Throw to first in time. And Corey Williams is retired. And there's a 1-2-3
Wow.
inning by Jack Peterson. And that is a great start to this game. And you wonder for Cheyenne Post 6, just have to throw it out there. Boys, are you awake yet? This does not look anything like the typical Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers team at the dish or with the swagger.
I don't know what's going on.
Sometimes you play a little early, Oliver Fell, and the body clock isn't really there. And this is the first time I've actually broadcast the baseball games that started with first pitch at 7:30 in the morning.
You get to do it twice.
And yeah, I get to do it twice. I am a morning person. Hopefully the audience thinks I'm doing okay. But I really wonder, because you know how it is with younger, late high school, early college age young men. They tend to stay up pretty late, and this is very early, and we'll have to see maybe if everybody really got a lot of sleep and is at their best in this early morning hour, as we have a cold, rainy morning, temperature at 50 degrees here at Dave Plew Field in Rapid City. And it just doesn't feel anything like baseball. We're not playing at night. We're not playing late in the day.
The lights are on.
And yes, the lights are on, but some people could say nobody's home. But we do have some fans here from Huron
Huron,
and
yeah.
Cheyenne as well. But what we do know is this is not baseball weather, and this is not by any stretch a conventional starting time for this ball game. So here we go. Jackson Mackey to lead things off now for Huron Post 7. We're scoreless as we begin inning number 2. Here comes the pitch from Hayden Swain to Jackson Mackey, and that's outside for ball 1.
Let me just say something here. This is not what I think most people were expecting coming in here for Huron. They look like a completely different team than what was expected. Last year they came to the tournament. I believe they went 1-3 overall. Didn't have like the absolute best time. They came into the tournament 0-2 with 2 rough losses to Yankton on the Legion season. And I was looking at their high school stuff. They only went 2-10 this year in club ball in high school. This is and now they're challenging the champions in a real way.
Here we go. Here comes the 2-0 pitch, and that's a bouncer to home plate. But I know it's too early yet to diagnose Cheyenne Post 6 as being off, but they do not look anything like the Sixers team that I saw down at Powers Field in the capital city of Cheyenne about 6 weeks ago, nor do they probably look like the team that visited Post 22 a couple of weeks ago. There's a walk issued, a leadoff walk to Jackson Mackey, and Hayden Swain, he is not sharp. In fact, he's had 4 pitches that haven't even made it to home plate.
Mm-hmm.
Now Colton Ogle is up to bat. Is Colton related to Huddy Ogle or to Easton Ogle? We're not sure. Here comes those are great baseball players in the Rapid City area and football players. There's a pitch outside for a ball.
It's interesting. If Huron can pierce the skin of this Cheyenne team, an upset could be brewing.
Here comes the 1-0 pitch, and that is not even close to home plate. You wonder how short the leash on Hayden Swain is going to be. He's not one of their
Primary starters.
primary starting pitchers. He traditionally comes in middle relief in high leverage weekend series games.
Mm-hmm.
And Hayden is a starter. He's, I believe, a starting infielder.
He's a catcher.
He's a catcher. I've seen Hayden before. The advantage, of course, and by the way, we do have activity stirring in the bullpen for Cheyenne Post 6.
Is Peyton Seeley
Ty
on
Lane
the
has
mound?
seen enough.
Is Peyton Seeley in the lineup?
No.
Okay, well then he's likely going to be the guy over there.
But Ty Lane has seen enough here in this early morning ball game to say, let's get somebody up. So Hayden Swain off to a rough start. He hasn't given up a run yet. He's only given up a hit, but he's dealing with a man at first after a walk, and he is really struggling to throw strikes.
That's
so
7.
There's now 7 consecutive balls issued by Hayden Swain, and I don't think that the bullpen can get going fast enough for Cheyenne Post 6 here against a Huron Post 7 team that would love to get on the board first. There is a strike, and there is a round of applause from the faithful who are under the canopy overhang behind home plate cheering on Cheyenne Post 6. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. Ball chopped to short. Could be 2. Throw to second is in time, and give Jackson Mackey credit. Man, did he take out the second baseman with a slide of slides. Ogle reaches on the fielder's choice.
That was a very close play,
There will be no double play, but that will be a 6-4 force out at second base for the first out of the second inning. So Hayden Swain getting help from his shortstop, Mason Tafoya, one of the best shortstops in this tournament, bar none. And now there's 1 on and 1 out. Here comes Tommy Martin. Tommy, a tall right-handed swinger, waits for the first pitch, and that pitch from Swain was way outside the zone for ball 1.
We gotta check something real quick.
Huron and Cheyenne, scoreless, were in the top of the second inning. At first base is Colton Ogle with a bit of a lead. Hayden Swain gets ready to fire to Tommy Martin, and that pitch is outside for a ball. Huron trying to strike first.
You can hear the raspy voice of Brady Feenstra heckling the pitcher.
Okay. Maybe that has a lot to do with
It worked
Hayden
yesterday.
Swain's struggles. Maybe Brady Feenstra. Thank you, Oliver, for taking the barometric heckling pressure from the Huron Post 7 dugout there. Is Brady Feenstra, a legendary heckler, really getting into the head of Hayden Swain, starting pitcher for Cheyenne Post 6? I wonder if he told him if he has beautiful eyes. That's what he told the Miles City pitcher yesterday. Count is now 2-2. With one out and a man on. So Brady Feenstra, his heckling services, they work in the morning hours, not just late in the day. There's an inside pitch, and the count goes to 3-2.
You have to wonder in a doubleheader like this if he's going to lose his voice.
You know, a game this big against Cheyenne Post 6, the defending champs, and a 26-3 ball club, by the way, on the season.
Probably worth it.
It's worth it. You make the investment here.
Ooh.
And there's a pitch. It catches the outside corner. Best pitch of the ball game so far for Hayden Swain, in my humble opinion. And that's the second strikeout in as many innings for Hayden Swain. And now here comes Brandon Flowers. I believe that that name Brandon Flowers is very similar to a Baltimore Ravens receiver in recent years. Here comes a pitch, and that's over for a strike. And suddenly, Hayden Swain has rediscovered the strike zone as he moves ahead of Brandon Flowers in the count 0-1. There's a man at first. That's Colton Ogle. 2 out in a scoreless tie. We're in the top of the second inning in Game 1 of our Day 2 coverage of the 5th Annual Veterans Classic. Coming up next, it'll be Alliance, Nebraska taking on the Huron, South Dakota Post 7 team. I give a shout out to Mike Peltz, former Husker basketball player and the son of the owner of Peltz Construction. If you're out there, Mikey Peltz, I've called as around many of your games you played back in the day for Alliance High School when I was managing KCOW and Double Q Country down in Alliance. A great railroad town Alliance is. Counts 2-1. There's a high pitch inside. It's also a great farming community. The Oasis of the Sandhills, Alliance, Nebraska, taking their spot on the big stage here on Hard Hats TV at around 9 o'clock. Oliver Fell will have that game for you. Comes the 3-1 pitch. That's over for a strike, and the count is now full.
That was a pretty one.
So we have a 3-2 count. Ogle going to run with the pitch from first base. Here comes the payoff pitch from Hayden Swain to Brandon Flowers.
See if he can block out the noise.
Here comes the pitch to Flowers. That's out underneath the strike zone for ball 4. And now there are 2 on with 2 out. And here comes Bubba Peterson, who grounded out in front of home plate to the catcher, Westby, his first time up to lead off this ball game. So there are now 2 on with 2 out. Hayden Swain having struggles, activity already materializing and happening in the Cheyenne Post 6 bullpen. Here comes the first pitch to Bubba Peterson. And that pitch is high and inside for ball 1. Oliver, looks like we got some viewers on. We want to welcome all the people tuning in and watching this morning. You're watching Hard Hats TV, a presentation of Rapid City Post 22 baseball. Here comes a pitch over for a strike.
That was a juicy fastball.
Count is now 1-1. Hayden Swain has thrown quite a few pitches. We don't have a running pitch count on the scoreboard here like they do over next to us at McKeague Field, but
Morling Leo.
I'd say he's thrown at least 30 pitches so far. maybe even closer to 40. There's another pitch inside, and the count's now 1-2. Between all the pitches Swain has thrown and all the heckling he's received from Brady Feenstra from the Huron Post 7 dugout, he's had to deal with a lot. There's a pitch for strike three, and Bubba Peterson is rung up by a very demonstrative and fun strike three call from our home plate umpire. That's now 3 strikeouts for Hayden Swaim and 2 scoreless innings for the spot starter for Cheyenne Post 6. In the top of the second inning, there were no runs. There were no hits. There were no errors, and there were 2 men left on base that reached base on a pair of walks. Through an inning and a half of play here at Fitzgerald Stadium, it's Huron Post 7-0 and Cheyenne Post 6-0. Bottom of the second comes your way next. This is Hard Hats TV. Well, later today, I was going to mention this earlier, my favorite teams meet up, and it's a rare occasion when my 2 favorite teams play one another. The San Diego Padres are in Kansas City to take on the Kansas City Royals for a weekend series, and this makes me happy. Royals and Padres have not met very many times, especially in America's barbecue capital of Kansas City, Missouri, and I am rooting for the Padres all the way, but I love the Royals. It's going to be a lot of fun next couple of days. And I'm very excited at 1 o'clock today down in Stillwater, Oklahoma for my Big Ten tournament champion Nebraska Cornhuskers, the number 2 seed in the Stillwater Regional. They take on the Florida Gators out of the Southeastern Conference at 1 o'clock today. There's a pitch from Jack Peterson that is a grounder to home plate. Jackson Garrett to lead things off. Cheyenne Post 6, they were held in check. Had a 1-2-3 inning to start their ball game. There's a high swing and a miss on a pitch to Jackson Garrett. Can Cheyenne Post 6 reach base? For Lane Wetzel and Huron Post 7, they were able to keep the Outlaws from getting a hit until the bottom of the top of the 5th inning yesterday. And Huron Post 7, they have really pitched well between Lane Wetzel and now Jack Peterson here in this Veterans Classic. Here comes the 1-2 pitch from Jack Peterson to Jackson Garrett, the leadoff hitter here in the bottom of the second inning, and that is strike 3. I love this home plate umpire. He really knows how to do a strikeout. So there is the first strikeout of the game, incidentally, for Huron Post 7's Jack Peterson, who was able to induce a pair of flyouts and a groundout in the top of the first. Now here comes Landon McAnally, a great left-handed hitter for Cheyenne Post 6. There's a pitch from Peterson in the dirt for a ball. Landon, the younger brother of the great Colton McAnally, who lived above the 400 mark when he played Legion ball, and now plays in the Pac-12. But we're not sure if Utah's going to be in the Big 12 next year, or maybe now they're talking about a move to the ACC. Here's a 2-0 pitch. And
Didn't they already sign the paperwork?
there is a out clause there.
Oh.
There is a little escape clause, I am told, before June 30th. There is a high pitch. The count is now 3-1. So stay tuned. We may find out in the next 31 days that Utah is going to the Atlantic Coast Conference. That's where, of course, Cal and Stanford and SMU went to in that realignment shuffle. Counts now 3-2 with a full count payoff pitch forthcoming to Landon McAnally. Here comes the pitch, and that ball is lifted to left field. Will it fall? It will be caught in left field by Huron's left fielder Tanner Gilbert for out number 2. So that duel was won by Jack Peterson for Huron post 7. And there are 2 down now for Braden Pearson. So we have Pearson versus Peterson. It's kind of fun to see the last names on some of these matchups between batter and pitcher. I'll tell you about one that happened on Memorial Day just a couple of days ago when the Miami Marlins were taking on the San Diego Padres at Petco Park in California. You had Jake Berger, the former Nebraska Cornhusker, going up against Michael King, and so you had Burger King,
Yeah.
and that was pretty cool, I thought. I want to give Jesse Agler, the voice of the San Diego Padres, credit for noticing that right away and also throwing in that Burger King is a Miami based company. There's a chopper to the third base line. Of course, Jesse Agler, the voice of Padres baseball, who I think is the best millennial play by play man out there in the big leagues right now.
There was something interesting as well on that 2021 Chicago White Sox team that let everybody down. Jace Fry was also on that team, so you had Berger and Fry.
My all-time favorite pitcher versus hitter matchup was in the 80s in the American League. There's a pitch outside for a ball, and it was Tim Belcher versus Dave Burpa, and the late great Fred White of the Kansas City Royals broadcasting crew said, "We got a Belcher and a Burpa." There's a bouncer to short. Gilbert's throw to
Ooh,
first, not in time.
it came out a little lame.
And Pearson is the first man to reach base with an infield single. And I want to correct myself. That was actually Bubba Peterson, who just couldn't get much on that throw down to first. He got there, but that'll
Should
be
have
an
been a routine
infield
play.
hit. And Cheyenne post 6 with their first man on base. I was mentioning. Oh,
Whoa.
we've got a pitching
Whoa.
change. Wow.
Whoa.
So Jack Peterson is pulled after getting 5 outs, and I guess this might fall into the category of an opener situation.
You can't
But
pull him. He's pitching. He's
Jack
pitching.
Peterson has been pulled after giving up an infield hit, and now we
That
will
wasn't
see
even his
another
fault.
pitcher. You wonder if something else happened there. We've
Because
got a reshuffling of infield positions. And number 30 is on the mound with warm-up tosses. Let's see if we can't identify who that pitcher happens to be.
it is.
Tommy Martin is the new pitcher. Tommy Martin moving over from third base. So Tommy Martin coming in for Jack Peterson, who pitches an inning and 2/3, only giving up 1 hit.
That is confounding.
That is officially the shortest leash in the history of the game.
What? Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
There,
Either he has a track record of imploding his second time through the
I-
order, or they're just getting finicky because there's what in. I mean, this is the toughest team in this entire tournament, and he is doing something like nobody else can. And you pull him, despite the fact he's still doing strong.
I just think something may have. I don't know what the story is. Let's see if we hopefully get the story. It almost has to be a story that us baseball broadcasters cannot fathom or comprehend. And I don't know if something happened, but Peterson looked to be
Yeah,
fine.
he walked off the field just
So I
fine.
mean, this. Who knows? Either that or the Huron skipper knows
Peterson's at first,
a lot more than we do.
right? I think he's playing
So-
first now.
So yeah, Peterson now at first base. Jack Peterson at first. Bubba Peterson still playing shortstop. And they, by the way, are not brothers. We learned that last night on our broadcast. Here comes the pitch, and that ball is drilled to right field and caught for the 3rd out of the inning. So the pitching change does not backfire, at least not yet, here in the bottom of the second inning as Caden Westby flies out to right field, making the catch in right for Huron post 7 is Brandon Flowers. And we have played 2 scoreless innings here at Fitzgerald Stadium on a cold, rainy morning on day 2 of our 4-day Veterans Classic. It's Huron post 7-0 and Cheyenne post 6-0. This is Hard Hats TV.
That is okay. Huron doing fantastically here. All in all considered, they're having a great game so far. They're winning on the base paths. They've reached base 3 times safely compared to just the one for Cheyenne. The pitching keeps going. The offense is still moving along. Swain's had to get out of some trouble here. Huron against this 26-3 Cheyenne team, who has only ever lost to the Hard Hats and the team they placed in the championship last year of the Veterans Classic, the North Platte Nationals for North Platte, Nebraska. Those are the only teams they've lost to. They've had games where they threw no hitters with 15 strikeouts. They've had games where they've won like 25 to nothing. And it is 0-0 right now with a team that came into this tournament aggregate score of 31-3.
Well, you also have to wonder, Oliver, with Huron getting set to take on Peltz Construction from Alliance, Nebraska. By the way, the Peltz Construction team just getting off the bus and arriving here and heading towards the outer part of the ballpark in the warm-up cage area down the third base line with their light blue jerseys this morning. But you wonder if maybe the pitching is very shallow in terms of the number of available pitchers for Huron Post 7. Knowing they have another game coming up, maybe they're just going to pitch by committee for both games this morning. And
Well, they can't keep him. They can't pitch him again today.
yes, they can.
No, you're under 40 pitches according to the tournament rules. You have to sit
Oh,
one
well,
day. So you have to
well,
sit out the rest of this day.
okay, I didn't know that. Thank you, Oliver. So Tanner Gilbert leads things off. We are in the top of the third inning, no score. Hayden Swain comes out for his third inning of work for Cheyenne Post 6. He's thrown a lot of pitches. At times has been erratic, but he has not been pulled.
I guess if he keeps it under 30, it's not.
There you go. And he did. So that was the strategy. Good job there, Oliver. So he reached probably 28, 29 pitches, something in that vicinity, and he is pulled so he can play again against Alliance if needed in the next couple of hours. Count is now 2-2.
Ooh.
And I understand the strategy now. I think that's the story. We knew
Mm-hmm.
Jack Peterson was healthy. Now we think he's been
He
pulled,
must be starting the next game
so
too.
he's going to be able to start and set the tone against Alliance, Nebraska, from Box Butte County, Nebraska, in the Nebraska Panhandle.
Beautiful.
And there's a low pitch and ball 4, and Tanner Gilbert is on base. Huron Post 7, trying to wear the Cinderella slipper, trying to knock off a behemoth in our part of the country. A Final Four team from a year ago that returns many of last season's starters, minus Colton McAnally. There is a pitch for a ball. I want to give a shout out to Larry, who is one of the broadcasters for Cheyenne Post 6 and a huge San Francisco Giants fan. He is in the booth next to us and really like Larry. I also really like the broadcasters as well that we were around down at Powers Field a couple weeks ago on Hard Hats TV. There's a throwback to first, almost a pickoff of Tanner Gilbert. So Gilbert, who has reached base twice, stole second in the first inning. He'd love to get into scoring position here at the outset of the third inning in this scoreless tie. Both these teams won their game by way of a shutout yesterday. For Cheyenne Post 6, they were victorious 8-0 over the Rapid City Shooters in 4 innings, and the Huron Post 7 Tigers, they blanked the Outlaw Baseball Club from Miles City 12-0 in 5 innings. And there's a pickoff throw, and that is an out. What a great move by Hayden Swain, and a nice job of sticking with the tag attempt there by first baseman Jackson Garrett. So that'll be a caught stealing, a pickoff, 1-3 if you're scoring at home for the first out of this 3rd inning. And now Logan Leyendecker waits for an 0-1 pitch with nobody on base. And what a big subtraction from the base paths that was moments ago for Cheyenne Post 6. On deck, it's Lane Wetzel for Huron Post 7, and there's strike 3. And Hayden Swain is now struck out 4 Tigers through 2 2/3 innings. He has about as many outs via the strikeout as he does the non-strikeout variety. Now here comes Lane Wetzel, and Lane smashes the ball to center, and it's caught with a can of corn in center field by center fielder Nolan Horton, and that will finish out the inning. So, in the top of the 3rd inning for Huron Post 7, there were no runs, there were no hits, there were no errors, and there were no men left on base, as Tanner Gilbert is picked off of first base in the key swing play of the top half of that 3rd inning. So we now go to the bottom of the 3rd, and the Cheyenne Post Sixers will bring most of the bottom of the order to the plate in Ethan Reinsdorfer, Cade Coates, and Mason Tafoya, and if anybody gets on base, Nolan Horton, as Tommy Martin will come out for a 2nd inning of work. Let's go ahead and officially tabulate the book on Jack Peterson in his start, where he was able to stay under 30 pitches to maintain his availability for the game coming up against Alliance, Nebraska, coming up next. For Jack Peterson, he goes an inning and 2/3, gives up only 1 hit. There were no runs given up, and there was only 1 man to reach base, and that was on an infield hit.
Which arguably shouldn't have even been a hit.
And there were no walks and only 1 strikeout. And that closes the book on a very effective start for Jack Peterson. And now we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Reinsdorfer lifts a high fly ball to left, and it's caught for the first out. So give Tommy Martin credit. He takes the hill after a great low pitch, high leverage starting situation against Cheyenne Post 6 for Jack Peterson. And he quickly retires the first 2 men he has faced as he gets a fly out to left field. And now Cade Coates, a very dangerous number 9 hitter, batting right-handed, waits for the pitch from Martin, and it's high for ball 1. Cade Coates, he's just a really gritty player. I think Wyoming grit is a good way to describe Cade Coates. Here comes a pitch to Cade, and that is just off the inside corner for a ball. Count now moves to 2-0. We're broadcasting live this morning on a chilly Friday morning here in Rapid City at Dave Flew Field. Scoreless tie in progress. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Mike Fell with you, father of the voice of Hard Hats TV, Oliver Fell, and Oliver will have the call for you. And I'm told I am a good luck charm for Huron Post 7, that they play some of their best baseball here at Fitzgerald Stadium when I've been behind the mic the last 2 years, and I'm not one to argue.
No, they're 3-0. They won the only game of their regular season, or of the pool play last year with you there, and then they won their like little 5th place matchup thing.
Someone could also say I've been pretty good luck for Cheyenne in doing Cheyenne games versus the post 22 hard hats and Cheyenne games at the Veterans Classic last year. I think the Sixers might be something like 6-1 or something like that. Here we go. Mason Tafoya now the hitter. Throw back to first, and it
Uh-oh.
gets away from the first baseman, and taking second base is Cade Coates. So there is going to be an E1 on Tommy Martin. That throw sailed past the first baseman, and I'm not sure if maybe the error shouldn't be charged to Jack Peterson at first because
He
I
wasn't
don't
looking
think he
quite.
really looked for it. So we'll just call it an error. I'm going to pencil that error as an E3 instead of an E1 because I didn't see Jack Peterson looking for that pickoff attempt from the right-hander Tommy Martin. The lights are on, by the way. It is 8:15 local time, Mountain Time. Of course, it's 9:15 in Huron if you're watching with us this morning. Give a shout out to all you good folks there in pheasant hunting country and also in the host city of the South Dakota State Fair and the home of Jack Link's beef products. There's a
Oh,
throw down to third, and Coates is out as the
he
base
must have slid
stealer is
past.
gunned down. Great play there by Colton Ogle, the catcher for Huron post 7. And I think
I
that
think he
Cade
slid past
Coates
the
thought he
bag.
was safe, but I think you're right,
He
Oliver.
hit he beat the throw for sure, but I think that the wet turf allowed him to slide past the bag, and as the tag was still applied to him, he
I
was out.
and give credit there to third baseman for Huron post 7. I'm not sure who the third baseman is. We had Tommy Martin out
Whoever the
there.
first baseman was
Whoever the
early,
third
I bet.
baseman was, he did a good job. Yep, I think you're right. So we're going to say it was Lane Wetzel. It is Lane Wetzel. I recognize Lane from his outstanding pitching performance from about 15 hours ago. Well, here we go. 2-2 pitch now to Mason Tafoya, and that's high for ball 3. He thinks it's ball 4,
Is it ball four?
but
The pitcher's
I
like, is
don't
this
think
ball
it
four?
is. Well, it is ball 4, and so the scoreboard
Scoreboard lost it.
operator might need a cup of coffee to wake up because he did not have the pitch count correct on the scoreboard. Let's get
And
some
Tafoya's
let's
on the
get some
bases now.
Starbucks for that man to boost down for us.
Watch out for Tafoya. He's a quick one.
Here comes Nolan Horton now, the hitter. Nolan
Oh,
flew out to
there he goes.
center. His first time up. There goes Tafoya. He steals second base without breaking a sweat, folks. That was as clean a steal, easy a steal as you're gonna see. Tafoya is so fast. You can have a cannon for an arm, and Tafoya would likely steal second base.
He already has 3 in the tourney.
So there's stolen base number 3 for Mason Tafoya in the first half of his second game in this tournament. Cheyenne post 6 and Huron post 7 locked in a scoreless duel. We're in the bottom half, the home half of the third inning with 2 outs. Tafoya is at second. Here's a swing from Horton, and it's playable and caught by the right fielder to retire the side. And how about Huron post 7? This 1-2 ball club is facing a 26-3 Cheyenne, Wyoming team. And through 3 innings, it's all smiles and a lot of high fives in the Tiger dugout as Huron post 7 is hanging in there with Cheyenne post 6 in what is a major developing story in this early morning hour as we begin day 2 of the Veterans Classic.
The pitching and defense has been spectacular so far for Huron, with the exception of that one error. And they've just been able to somehow silence the bats of the Cheyenne team, which pretty much nobody does. Even in the games that the Hard Hats win, it's usually like 6-5 or something like that. Lee Negebauer did pitch 6 shutout innings in what turned out to be a 4-2 victory for the Hard Hats earlier this season against Cheyenne. But that's the closest I think anybody's gotten that I've seen to shutting them out. But it does feel like Huron is perhaps wasting some time here. Like they have the defense and pitching has been so spectacular, but eventually Cheyenne has to wake up. And Huron needs to take advantage right now and get on top. And it feels like with the amount of base runners they've had and none of them coming in to score, they are kind of pitter pattering a little too long. That's what I think, at least.
Here we go. We now go to the top of the fourth inning. Thank you, Oliver, for that. To recap the bottom of the third inning for Cheyenne Post 6, there were no runs, there were no hits. It was an error, and there was one man left on base. Here we go. We now go to the fourth inning. A potential monumental upset in the making here as we get to inning number 4. Hayden Swain out for his fourth inning of work. Jack Peterson to lead things off. After Jack Peterson, Jackson Mackey and Colton Ogle are due up here in the top of the fourth inning. Great early morning thriller in progress for the fans who got up early and made it out here to Fitzgerald Stadium. Of course, a lot of folks at work. I will be headed to work at the radio stations when this game at the Riverfront Broadcasting radio stations. I want to give a shout out to my friends Mike Lyon and Keith Osier, the broadcasters at Big Jim Country and Riverfront Broadcasting in Huron. If you guys are watching, think the world of you. Go Riverfront Broadcasting. Here comes a 2-1 pitch from Hayden Swain, and that is over for a strike. Count is now 2-2. Keith is the general manager, and Mike Lyon is the sales manager for Riverfront Broadcasting in Huron. I, by the way, am the sales manager at KOTA Radio in Rapid City with Riverfront Broadcasting. Count is now 3-2. Count is full to Jack Peterson. Here comes Hayden Swain's payoff pitch to the leadoff hitter in the fourth inning, Jack Peterson. Pitch to Peterson is a chopper to third. Throw to first is in time to get the leadoff man. That was a really good exhibition of patience right there by Ethan Reinsdorfer, the hot corner for Cheyenne Post 6. He was patient, made sure he got the ball the way he wanted it, and then delivered a strike over to first base to retire Jack Peterson. Now Jackson Mackey is the hitter. Mackey walked and was forced out at second base. Now Mackey may not have made a lot of friends and influenced people, as he really had a pretty major takeout slide at second base back in the second
Frankly,
inning.
I think that's why he was called out. I think he beat the throw, but on the basis of how close it was and the fact that he had a takeout slide,
You
the
might have been
umpire
right.
might
They
have.
may have called it interference. You're
Yeah.
right. That's a good point, Oliver. There's a strike from Hayden Swain. Count now 1-1. We are scoreless between Huron, South Dakota, and Cheyenne, Wyoming. Darn good baseball game in progress. Count is 2-1. If you're wondering, is Cheyenne the state fair home in Wyoming? The answer is no. Douglas, Wyoming has the Wyoming State Fair.
They are the capital.
They are the capital. They are the second largest city behind Casper.
Do you think they'll ever overtake?
No. Count is 3-1. Here comes the pitch, and it's high and outside, and Jackson Mackey draws a walk, and now we'll have a little meeting at the mound as we will have the catcher, Caden Westby, talk to Hayden Swain with the man on and one out. Here comes Colton Ogle. Colton Ogle, who reached on a fielder's choice back in inning number 2, now comes up to bat with a runner at first and one out. Mike Fell with you. Happy to have you along with us on this early Friday morning. Ball fouled over the canopy, almost hit Oliver, who was jogging behind the canopy here at Fitzgerald Stadium. What a great ballpark. This is Legion baseball like it ought to be here in Rapid City. Comes the 0-1 pitch, and it is low and away for a ball. Hayden Swain keeping Cheyenne not only off the scoreboard but out of the hit column. Cheyenne post 6 yet to reach base, and here we go. The only hit in this ball game, incidentally, was a base hit by Tanner Gilbert in the visitors' half of the first inning. Here comes the 2-1 pitch now to Colton Ogle. Hayden Swain looks back at first, fires home. That's a swing and a miss, strike 2. On deck is Tommy Martin for Huron post 7. I'm going to give a shout out to my good friend Jay Murphy. Jay, an outstanding broadcaster here in Rapid City, is proud to call Huron his hometown. There's a swing and a miss. And Jay is the proud uncle of Anderson Porsche in the athletic community these days in Huron. There's a swing and a miss. And that is the 5th strikeout of the game now for Hayden Swain. Tommy Martin, right-handed hitter, now moves into the batter's box. Back at first is Jackson Mackey. Hayden Swain checks the runner at first, now fires home, and that pitch is over for a strike. Brandon Flowers is on deck for Huron post 7. Here comes the pitch, and that ball is lifted down the line and foul, out of play. Chasing after it in right field for Cheyenne post 6 was right fielder Corey Williams. I'm going to check the numbers here. We may have had a little bit of a lineup shuffle a moment ago. Let's see, Colton Ogle is the batter. I got a little bit crossed up. So Ogle is the hitter. We're in the top of the 4th. On deck is Tommy Martin for Huron post 7. There's a pitch just outside. The count now goes to 1-2. So it was Jackson Mackey that struck out. It's Jack Peterson that's at first base. And here comes the 1-2 pitch. That is swing and a miss in the dirt, handled by the catcher. Throw to first in time, and that's the 6th strikeout of the game for Hayden Swain. And that will strand Jack Peterson at first base. So we have now played 3.5 innings of this 7-inning ball game. Our first game in our 6-game showcase today on Hard Hats TV. And in the top of the 4th inning, there were no runs for Huron post 7. There were no hits, there were no errors, and there was one man left on base. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Coming out is Tommy Martin for his extended relief pitching duty. And Corey Williams, Jackson Garrett, and Landon McAnally, the heart of the order, will come up for the 2nd time this morning for Cheyenne post 6. You're watching Hard Hats TV coverage of the Veterans Classic number 5. Corey Williams grounded out his first time up. Williams is a tremendous ball player, and he is a very good pitcher when he's on the mound.
Mm-hmm. Pitcher and cleanup, more or less. He's a college talent for sure.
He will be playing at the next level. You can count on that.
If he so chooses.
I think he does.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I don't know. Some of these players are so good at football or basketball, you don't know what sport they're going to select. So there's that. Corey Williams now, will bat left-handed. Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers wearing those classic, and I mean classic, old Comiskey Park era Chicago White Sox uniforms. A little fun fact for Chicago White Sox baseball. I'll give you two fun facts in this half inning as Corey Williams waits for the first pitch from Tommy Martin. That pitch is in for a strike. So Bill Veeck, the very creative and interesting, eccentric owner of the Chicago White Sox. By the way, there's a hit by pitch, I believe, as the ball hits the shoe of Corey Williams. So the leadoff man's aboard. That's a dangerous thing to happen if you're Huron Post 7 in a scoreless tie, is to put Corey Williams on deck with Jackson Garrett
He already has
coming
two
up the
stolen
bat.
bases in the tournament. He's also been hit by 3 pitches, so he's a magnet.
I have so much to get to here in this half inning with fun facts and interesting notes. We'll see if, what do you know? Because I have the fun facts for this inning, we'll probably have a lot of action. So throw back to first, and it gets away from the first baseman. An errant throw, and taking second base is Corey Williams. That will be an error on Tommy Martin, the relief pitcher, whose throw over to starting pitcher Jack Peterson was nowhere close to the glove catch radius of first baseman Jack Peterson. So Corey Williams is on second base thanks to a throwing error by Huron Post 7 pitcher Tommy Martin. And now Jackson Garrett will wait for the first pitch, and there's a swing and a miss. So did you know that Bill Veeck Jr., the owner of the Chicago White Sox in the early 80s, actually put his team in shorts? They actually wore shorts.
And they loved it.
They did love it.
The players wanted it the whole time.
They look like a slow pitch beer softball team, but hey, that's a moment in Major League history. Uniforms.
They all said they moved better. All the players wanted to keep wearing them, but the league said, we have standards.
I'm not sure if the big bull Greg Luzinski could have moved any better no matter what he was wearing, but anyway, here comes the 1-1 pitch to Jackson Garrett. That pitch is outside for a ball. Also with the White Sox, they struggled in the middle to latter part of the 80s after Tony La Russa moved on to Oakland. And their promotional slogan one time to try to sell season tickets was Chicago White Sox baseball, anything can happen. There's a swing and a miss, strike two.
A's need to borrow that one.
That's right up there with the 1980s Kansas City Chiefs, who had their challenges, and their promotional slogan was "Celebrate the weekend with us." Here comes the.
It's like a beer slogan.
It really is, and it really fit those Bill Kenny era Chiefs to a T. Comes a pitch, and that is inside for a ball. So we have a full count now, nobody out. At first base is Corey Williams. Cheyenne Post 6 yet to record a hit. We actually have a combined no-hitter in progress.
No, there was the hit in the first inning. They just didn't count it.
Well, it doesn't count, though. Here comes a swing, and that's a base hit. That'll score the first run of the game. The ball ricochets off the left fielder, and taking an extra base is Jackson Garrett with an RBI single to give the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers, the defending champions of the Veterans Classic, a 1-0 lead as Corey Williams is driven home on an RBI base knock by Jackson Garrett, and we will have another pitching change. Tommy Martin's day is through, and it looks like
he was running out of gas. Looks like left fielder coming in.
The left fielder coming in, Tanner Gilbert, will be the second pitcher out of the bullpen. So Tommy Martin, who was highly effective as he came in the second inning and pitched a very solid bottom of the third inning, has run into trouble both with his pitching and his errant throw to first base on a pickoff attempt. And now the dangerous Landon McAnally will come on the scene to face Tanner Gilbert as Gilbert fires his warm-up tosses. Well, Cheyenne post six, they were seemingly very vulnerable. They were not
Yeah.
on their game in the first hour, but now we have played 1 hour and 4 minutes of this game, and it looks like the Cheyenne post six Sixers body clock, so to speak, or biological clock, is getting into form.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time through the order, the Sixers, who reached the Final Four in North Carolina in American Legion Baseball a year ago, with many of the starters back on this year's 26-3 team, are finding themselves back into that groove, and that's a scary
Mm-hmm.
thing if you're a Huron post
That's
17.
that's what I was saying earlier. They lost a lot of time. They bought themselves a lot of time to give themselves a lead. You know, 3 shutout innings against this team. You get a lot of guys on. You couldn't afford to pitter patter, and now they have to play for behind, which is way harder against this Cheyenne team.
It really is. Mike fell, Oliver fell with you. Yes, we are a father and son. I am Generation X. Oliver is Generation Z. How about that?
Mm.
We have similar ways we call ball games, but I think what's interesting, Oliver, is you and I, we've been influenced by different broadcasters in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
and our styles as a result are a little different, but it's all good. It's all good. Here we go. Comes a pitch to McAnally. He pops it up to shallow left center field, and it is caught for the first out of the inning. So one pitch, one out for Gilbert, who comes in from left field and retires the first man he faces, the very dangerous left-handed hitter Landon McAnally. So that's a pop-up to the shortstop. That's an F6 if you're scoring at home. And now here comes Braden Pearson. Tanner Gilbert able to record that first out. Don't know if Tanner Gilbert is related to Gail Gilbert, the former San Diego Chargers quarterback from the 80s.
Or Garrett Gilbert, the backup quarterback.
Yeah. Here comes a bouncer handled by Bubba Peterson, and that's a bad throw that gets into dirt and past the first baseman, and that will score a run. Bubba Peterson wishes he had a string on that throw. He is so angry at himself,
Mm-hmm.
showing some real emotion as Bubba did not get his man at first. Reaching on an air is Braden Pearson. That'll be an E6 on the shortstop, Bubba Peterson, and Jackson Garrett scores the second run of the inning for Cheyenne post six. And it's now 2-0 in favor of the Sixers, and just one out. And boy, the infield defense is essential
Mm-hmm.
at this high
You can't be
level
doing that.
in the Veterans Classic. It really is.
That's 2 times now where he's had plays very manageable that have not completed. First time he got away with it thanks to the good pitching of Peterson on the mound, but second time, not so much. Fool me once, you know.
Right. Here we go. Here comes the 2-0 pitch now to Caden Westby, the catcher. There's a outside pitch throw down to second, and sliding in safely is Braden Pearson. The
That's a strike,
Sixers
apparently.
are known for putting pressure on opposing pitchers. They're very similar to the post 22 hard hats. They really like to run and play with an edge. Here comes a bouncer to home plate to Caden Westby, and I'm starting to notice that the pitching for Huron not quite as sharp as we saw early on when Jack Peterson came out and just pitched a marvelous 28 or
Ooh,
29 pitches to start the game.
that was a pretty
And
one
there's a
in the corner.
pitch that paints the corner. We now have a full count. Here comes the payoff pitch on Oliver's favorite 3-2-1 count. And that ball is a chopper right to the first baseman. Easy stroll to first, retires the second man in the inning. That's a U3 if you're keeping score. And now Ethan Reisdorfer will come to bat. Ethan flew out to left field his first time up. Moving to third on that ground out was Braden Pearson. So now the Sixers, with what would be a very big run, if they could get a 3-0 lead, that feels so different than a 2-0
Uh-oh.
lead. And there's
Oh, and
a wild
he
pitch,
got
and
hit in the
that'll
neck.
score a run, and that
Oh.
hit the catcher in the neck. Ouch. We have an injury delay here for
I hit
sure,
him right in the throat.
as that wild pitch on a bounce hit the catcher, Colton Ogle, in the neck, maybe the throat area.
Mm-hmm.
He is on his back. Home plate umpire and the skipper for Huron Post 7 talking to him. It is now 3-0 as Braden Pearson able to score on the wild pitch. And it was an error by the shortstop that allowed Pearson to reach. But the ending of that trip around the bases is the most harrowing and worst part. If you're a Huron Post 7 fan, as now either a trainer or perhaps
It looks like the post
Mr.
22.
Ogle's father may be coming
No,
out.
that's the post
Oh,
22
okay.
physical
So
therapist, I
we
think.
have a visit here from, yep, that is somebody from the Black Hills Rehabilitation Clinic
He's
coming
got his
out
little pack here if
to
needed.
check on the catcher, and
I've never
looks
seen
like
that.
I have not seen it either.
I've never seen
Usually,
like a windpipe injury.
usually you have that protection guard that comes down from the catcher's mask to
Mm-hmm.
prevent that from
But it
happening.
uppercutted him
But it just got
on the
underneath it. I
bounce.
think on the bounce, it was probably a 1 in 1,000 bounces that could cause that injury. And sitting up and now getting a great round of applause from all of the great Huron fans who made the trip across the Rushmore State to be here this weekend, and getting to his feet. And let's hope he's okay. I love this home plate umpire. He reminds me of the late great Eric Gregg, who was a who was a great umpire in the National League for a long time. And let's hope he's all right.
Speaking of retiring umpires, Angel Hernandez is now out.
Yep, and a lot of people are cheering that.
Of course.
He was the least popular umpire in Major League Baseball, but it wasn't even close.
No, Joe West is close.
No, Country Joe West.
People hate Joe.
People had a love-hate
People
relationship
hate
with
Joe.
Country Joe. I don't think they. I didn't hate Joe. I like
I did.
anybody whose nickname is Country. By the way, I guess I should like everyone who's named Angel too. All right, there's a 1-1 pitch there to Ethan Reinsdorf. There's 2 outs, nobody on. The Sixers have scored 3 runs in this inning, and none of these. I think I'm not sure any of these runs are earned. There's a chopper to third off of the belt of the third baseman. Throw to first is not
Oh,
going to be an out, as the first baseman drops the ball
it's falling
that was
apart.
right in his glove. And right now the wagon has lost all 4 wheels for Huron Post 7, as that's the third error, along with a run allowing wild pitch here in this bottom of the 4th inning that has just been a disaster for Huron, South Dakota. That'll be an E3. So 3 errors, and there's a wild pitch. And now just look at the body language as Ethan Reinsdorfer is issued a free pass. Actually, that's ball 4 on a wild pitch. But whether it's a wild pitch or a horrible pitch for ball 4, things really falling apart for Tanner Gilbert on the mound and for his teammates. And this is just
Momentum completely
momentum
shifted.
has shifted big time. And this may be the kind of inning that opened the gate for Yankton to win a pair of blowouts against Huron Post 7 prior to this tournament's beginning.
You have to wonder if they just kept Peterson in and didn't play for game 2. Perhaps they could be Peterson, and then he could go a long ways, and then bring in Riley or
I
the
think you
reliever.
bring up an outstanding point, Oliver. And it's a matter of do you stick to your original game plan or do you observe what's going on and adapt the game plan accordingly? Um, you know, there's no right or wrong answer. Certainly, outcomes can show themselves different ways. There's a base hit and an RBI by Cade Coates, the number 9 hitter, and now it's 4-0. Cade Coates able to drive home Ethan Reinsdorfer, and I think I'm actually crossed up. I'm trying to realize who's even at the plate at the moment. We've had a lot of action, so many errors, and some delays. And now here comes, I think it was Mason Tafoya a moment ago that had the base hit.
It is.
Okay, and now Tafoya, yep, it was, as you could see him steal second base in a flash. That's his 4th stolen base in this tournament. So Tafoya drives in. Coates is, by the way, at third base, and
It's all falling apart.
Reinsdorfer has scored. So 4 runs across the plate. That we do know here in the bottom of the 4th. Cheyenne post 6, cashing in on 3 errors. The scoreboard says 2. There were 3 errors committed here in this 4th inning. There's a
Ooh.
swing and a miss as Gilbert able to get Horton to swing for the downs and come up short, come up empty. Here comes the 1-2 pitch now to Nolan Horton. Gilbert's pitch is chopped just foul to stay alive. 1-2 pitch count, 2 outs, runners at second and third. Chance here for the Cheyenne post 6 Sixers to break this game wide open. Here in the bottom of the 4th, there's a pitch by Gilbert just off the plate.
Just.
And the count is now 2-2 to Nolan Horton. Nolan, the 9th man to come up in this inning for Cheyenne post 6. And that pitch
That's a ball
is
too.
called a ball, and Gilbert wanted the strikeout call. He thought
I
he
thought he
had
had
the
it.
K. Oliver, you thought he
I
had it.
thought that ball clipped on the backside of the plate.
But they say the home plate umpire saw differently, and there is strike 3.
That was the strike.
That pitch hits the upper edge of the zone, but it counts, and that is Tanner Gilbert's first strikeout and final out here in the 4th inning. But Cheyenne post 6 Sixers break through in a big way thanks to timely hitting, good plate discipline,
Oh, look,
and
Feenstra.
a number of errors. Huron post 7 gives up 4 runs. Not all of them were earned on a total of 3 hits. There were 3 errors, and there were 2 men left on base. Through 4 innings of play here in Rapid City, it's Cheyenne post 6 4, Huron post 7 nothing. This is Hard Hats TV coverage of Day 2, Game 1 of 6 games today on Hard Hats TV from the 5th Annual Veterans Classic.
Yeah, that wheels feeling like they're starting to fall apart or starting to fall off the wagon here for Huron. They were having such a good pitching performance, and they were not taking advantage of it on the offensive end. Despite getting many walks, having several opportunities, they weren't able to string together anything, weren't able to score, and now they're down with errors starting to pop in, and they're on their third pitcher. You can't help but feel like they were playing for game 2. They were intentionally limiting Peterson's pitches so that they could pitch him again. They were going through guys with very short leashes, and it felt like the whole game, this was one they were willing to sacrifice, but they didn't need to. I think that they could have kept on going for quite some time here, having shown how good they were in those first 3. I think if Peterson throws 5, you get the reliever in for the last 2, you could make an upset here and try to win the whole tournament. But instead, I think they're just trying to improve on their 1-3 record last year.
Now coming up to bat for the first time in the Veterans Classic,
It's
the amazing
Feenstra.
heckler Brady Feenstra, and he grounds
Oh,
a bouncer to the pitcher for the first out. So Brady Feenstra, the pinch hitter,
he's playing
he
left now.
he's in left field.
Yeah.
Brady Feenstra in left field. He is retired, and I think he was batting in the number 9 position there, if I'm not mistaken. So Brady Feenstra, who made us smile, made us laugh, and definitely entertained us in Huron's 12-0 win over the Outlaw Baseball Club from Miles City. We gave him heckler of. We basically inducted him into the
Mm-hmm.
Veterans Classic Heckler Hall of Fame.
I think he's the only one.
I mean, he absolutely put on a show with his raspy, loud Gilbert Godfrey style delivery with so much to say
And he
and
did it
so many
today.
ways to say it. He did. There
Oh,
is a
run.
chopper, and it is handled by the pitcher. The catcher, throw to first in
Oh,
time. That throw down to first almost pulled first baseman Jackson Garrett off the bag, but Garrett able to stay attached long enough to record the out. And that's 2 quick outs as Feenstra's retired on a 1-3 put out. And now we see Bubba Peterson retired as well on a 2-3 grounder. See now, I want to make sure who the batter is at this
17.
moment. I'm not good with numbers. I'm gonna write my numbers down. 17, I don't
Mm-hmm.
see a 17.
Oh, that's who's up. Or it's
It's
11.
11. There we go. Grounder to the shortstop, throw to first in time, and that's a 1-2-3 inning as Bubba Peterson is retired on a 6-3 putout. So Tommy Martin grounded out, or Brady Feenstra grounded out to lead off the inning. Then Brandon Flowers grounded out to the catcher, and then Bubba Peterson grounded out to the shortstop. 3 consecutive groundouts. It's a 1-2-3 inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We've played 4.5 innings here in Rapid City on a cold, damp morning, Friday morning. It is currently 51 degrees. It feels like 49. By the way, we will have sunshine this afternoon. It will get up into the 60s, and tonight should be absolutely gorgeous. 61 degrees at 7
That's a
o'clock
little
tonight
chilly. When the sun sets?
with the sun up. It'll be chilly, but at least it will be a very nice spring like
Yesterday was
day.
ideal.
And it is going to warm up and be really nice this weekend. So that'll be great. So here we go. Looks like we have a new pitcher on the mound for Huron. Let's see if we can catch who's out there. Our new pitcher is Logan Leyendecker. Logan, the third reliever for Huron Post 7. And we've just basically seen that Tampa Bay Rays opener strategy employed here by Huron's coaching staff. And I think, Oliver, you brought up an excellent point about looking at this doubleheader and perhaps going with the opener approach to maximize
Your game too.
the second game. And if Huron's able to beat Pelt's Construction from Alliance, Nebraska, in the game coming up next, well, then they're 2-1 in this tournament.
Yeah.
And if you came up to Huron Post 7, who came here to Rapid City 0-2 to start the year, and said, "Hey, you got a chance to be 2-1," they'd probably take it.
Yes. But also, as unlikely as it seemed, they had a real shot at this game.
I agree with that. And I think
And
the
they could
early
have gone
start time
for the
had
win-win.
something. I think early start time did have something to do with that because Cheyenne Post 6, they just didn't look. They looked vulnerable. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
look like the Sixers until about 1 hour into this ball game, in which they just put up 4 runs in the fourth inning to take a 4-0 lead, which is our current score. Here we go. Pitch to Corey Williams. Williams drills a floater to center, and that ball is caught for the first out of the inning. Corey Williams 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Corey was able to get around the bases thanks to a throwing error back in the fourth inning. Corey Williams flies out to center, and that brings up Jackson Garrett, the right-handed slugger, the first baseman for Coach Ty Lane's Sixers. Here comes the pitch
That thing had some serious
from
whip on it.
Leyendecker, and that is a ball. Huron post 7. Crowd program. We've got post 6 versus post 7 in this game, right next to each other in sequential order.
I think Laramie is post 8,
I think you're right.
but they're on the other side.
Laramie, of course, very close to Cheyenne, if you know your Wyoming geography. Comes the 2-0 pitch now to Jackson Garrett, and that pitch is over for a strike. Count is now 2-1. Mike Fell with you, joined by Oliver Fell. Oliver will have the calls of games 2 and 3, and I'll be back with you for game 4 this afternoon, provided my work schedule doesn't dictate any shifts or changes. Count is now 2-2. One of my responsibilities at the radio station is election advertising. On the way here this morning, Oliver mentioning that my voice is on a lot of tags at the end of election commercials. There's an inside
Nobody even
pitch,
tries to catch that.
and that, well, this goes back to the screen. But I'm on a lot of election commercials because it's required that candidates announce who paid for the ads, and so most of the candidates don't want to say I paid for it, so they have the announcer say that. That ball is fouled out of play. Of course, in the Huron area, make sure you get out and vote on Tuesday, June 4th. The Republican and Democratic primaries happening, and a lot of school board races and county commissioner races happening in about 5 days from now. Here, 4 days from now, there's a pitch, and that's inside to Jackson Garrett, and Garrett draws a walk. And now with 1 out, the Sixers have a man aboard. And here comes Landon McAnally. Landon is due. He is 0 for 2. But it is hard to keep Landon McAnally hitless in any ball game in which he takes the field. Leading off is Jackson Garrett. Here comes a pitch to Landon McAnally. Don't know how big of a threat to run Garrett is. He has the build of a slugger. You wouldn't expect the slugger to take off and run, but in Legion baseball, many times, if you're out there, you're running. Looking back is Leyendecker, the pitcher for Huron. Leyendecker pitches and hits the batter in the back. Landon McAnally is hit by a pitch. He will take a base, and Jackson Garrett advances to second via the hit by pitch, and this is not the start you want for Huron post 7 if you're a fan of the boys and Baltimore Orioles colors here.
I would say that this is, as well as they've played, I could absolutely see Cheyenne mercy ruling it by the end of this inning, scoring 4 more runs. It would be a very misleading 8-0 win, but they need to be on watch for that because we're at that point in the game where if they get to 8, it's a walk-off.
Great observation there, Oliver. You've been full of great observations, especially the American Legion rule about the pitch count and eligibility. And that was a big answer to the mystery that was Jack Peterson being pulled as the starting pitcher after pitching a marvelous inning and 2/3 against the top of the order for Cheyenne post 6 to start this game around 7:30 this morning. Today's a big day in college baseball. All of the regional teams are in action. All 64 teams from coast to coast at 16 different regional sites and double elimination play. I love this day. There's a walk, and the bases are loaded. As Braden Pearson has walked on 4 pitches, and now Caden Westby, the hitter, the catcher for Cheyenne Post 6. And Oliver, you got to love this day in college baseball.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not Saturday or it's not Thursday, Friday of March Madness, but it's pretty dang good. You get to see some upsets. I wish things were more. There was more finality to everything because you get like NJIT pulling off an upset over Virginia or something, and you're like, "Wow, that's cool." And then Virginia wins the regional anyways.
But you do force them to have to work through a loser's bracket, and it gets exciting when those upsets happen. There's a pitch to Westby. That's over for a strike, and quickly, with the bases loaded, Logan Leyendecker has the number 7 hitter for the Sixers down in the count 0-2. Here comes the 0-2 pitch from Leyendecker, and that pitch is outside for ball 1. Double play, of course, in effect here. Force at any base, including home plate, in effect as well. Let's see if Logan Leyendecker can get the Post 7 Tigers out of trouble, and he gets a swing and a miss, strike 3. And Logan gets his first K of the morning. And now there are 2 down. And here comes Ethan Reinsdorfer. Ethan batting with the bases loaded, a dangerous hitter. He walked and scored his last time up. Here comes the pitch to Ethan. That's high for ball 1. Of course, a bases loaded walk, as good as a hit, can make it 5-0 here in the bottom of the 5th, with Cheyenne leading Huron 4-0. There's a swing and a miss, strike 1. So Logan Leyendecker, he has reached into the well and he found something, as he is now just pitching with greater confidence. He likes his sign, he fires, comes home, and that's going to be fouled out of play for ball 2. Do we have any kids? We do.
We have
got several kids.
Like 4 or 5.
And school might be out. I don't know if school is out in Rapid City, but
It
in
is in
Huron,
Box
it
Elder.
must be out in Huron because it
No,
is
everybody graduated.
out.
I
Okay.
saw.
Yeah,
I
schools.
saw.
I know that.
Yeah,
But yeah, we're talking about here. Yeah.
like little kid school.
Yes. Here comes a 1-2
Ooh.
pitch that's just off the plate.
If that was over, it would have been. It would have been in.
Some schools are still going, some are done. Here comes the 2-2 pitch with 2 outs to Ethan Reinsdorfer, and that ball is hit right past the third base coach. And we'll do it all over again. 2-2. Here comes the 6th pitch in this at bat. Ethan Reinsdorfer, the hitter. Logan Leyendecker, the pitcher. Don't ask me to spell both of those 2 names. They're long names with a lot of vowels and consonants. There's a ball lifted to left field. That could be the 3rd out, and it is. And the Huron Post 7 Tigers leave the bases loaded and put up a 0 in the home half of the 5th inning. So in the 5th inning, the game remains 4-0 as we go to the top of the 6th. And there were no runs, there were no hits, there were no errors, and there were 3 men left on base. We go to the 6th with the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers on top 4-0. This is the Veterans Classic on Hard Hats TV.
We got to wait till 10 a.m. for the first pitch of any of the regional games today, but going to be some interesting storylines in there. Last year also coincided with the Veterans Classic. We had the opening weekend of the tournament. It was fun. I had fun. We'll watch everything going on. Pulling for Nebraska. There's a Grand Canyon versus Arizona game later today, and I got to root against them both, so I don't know how that's gonna work. But the GCU people, they're squares, and they don't like when you say that to them, but they are. Um, got to meet a lot of them. I'm down in Phoenix, Arizona State, so rival for both. Well, one of the programs, GCU, not really a rival. We don't play them too much, but we are having a two-game men's women's doubleheader uh, for basketball being held at Footprint Center where the Suns play this next year. I will be definitely in attendance for that. That should be fun. ASU also bringing in two five-star recruits. Three people in this class of 2024 are the newest and highest rate or top 10 recruits all time for ASU basketball.
Exciting. Thank you, Oliver. Here we go. We now begin the top of the sixth inning. Coming up to the bat, to the plate for Huron Post 7, Tanner Gilbert, Logan Leyendecker, and Lane Wetzel. And if anyone gets on, Jack Peterson.
Gilbert's bat looks a little big for him.
Tanner Gilbert waits for the pitch. And I think we've still got Hayden Swain on the mound. Yes, we do.
His hair just changed colors.
Hayden Swain.
No, that's 15.
Hayden
That
Swain.
should be Thompson.
Oh, we have a new pitcher?
It should be Andrew Thompson, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because Hayden's blonde.
Oh, that's right. So we have a new pitcher out there for Cheyenne Post 6.
I
And
think it's the closer.
there is a swing. There is a caught-looking strikeout. So one up, one down as we begin the top of the sixth.
Yeah, Andrew Thompson, their elite closer.
Andrew Thompson, the elite closer, out to try to shut the door in this 4-0 ball game. Is this the only game Cheyenne Post 6 plays today, Oliver?
Yeah.
So no use holding the closer back in a 4-0 game.
Unless there's something in
You're
320 pool.
you're not gonna play later today. Count is now 1-0 to Logan Leyendecker. Leyendecker struck out in the first and again went down on strikes in the third inning. Here comes the pitch. That ball fouled out of play. The count now 1-1.
You know what I learned? The Expos are only going to play. Oh no, I thought they were only going to play 4. They only play 3 games. They get to play 4. The Expos currently 1-0 youth baseball for post 22, and they'll play later today.
There's a high pitch. Count now 2-1. Logan Leyendecker, a fine ball player. He really had a good Veterans Classic a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes the pitch from Andrew Thompson, and that pitch is high and inside. Move the count to 3-1. Andrew Thompson on the mound for Cheyenne Post 6. Hayden Swain pitches 5 scoreless innings. Gets the job done. He was the pitcher of record in this ballgame for Cheyenne Post 6. And again, ordinarily, Swain plays catcher, and he's more of a spot starter. This is huge to get that kind of performance out of a spot starter here at the Veterans
It was
Classic.
shaky at times, but
it was effective.
It was.
Shaky's okay, as long as it's effective. Count now 3-2.
Tell that to the manager for Huron.
It's just shaky's okay, as long as it's effective. Here we go, 3-2. Pitch coming up to Logan Leyendecker, and that is strike 3. So back-to-back Ks put up by elite closer Andrew Thompson, and that brings up now Lane Wetzel. Wetzel, who put on a clinic as the ace for Post 7 last night in that one-hit shutout victory in 5 innings over the Outlaw Baseball Club. Now the hitter, Lane, today is 0 for 1. Here comes a pitch to Wetzel, and that pitch is outside for ball 2. Well, Cheyenne Post 6, they're going to try to win back-to-back Veterans Classics. I don't know if that's been done before, Oliver. Has it?
If it's been done, it's by them.
Okay, there's an inside pitch.
I believe they've been at all of them.
3-0.
And they always are good, so.
Yeah, Cheyenne Post 6. It's a great Legion program. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. And that's over for a strike. I was giving a shout out to our buddy Larry, who is here to cover the game for the Sixers fans back in Cheyenne. And I want to give a shout out to Keith Kelly and Reese Monaco. There's a bouncer off the glove, and it's
Oh,
bobbled and reaching first base. It's just a
he
quick,
should have known
very
better.
strange ricochet play. I'll call it an infield single for Lane Wetzel. You really can't call that
He
an
should have
error,
tried that better.
but
Tafoya tried to barehand a soaking wet ball that bounced off of the
the glove.
the, the turf.
It came first off the glove and then the turf at an odd angle.
Yeah, but it was all
So
wet, and he tried to barehand it, and it slipped right out.
I want to give a shout out to Kevin Kelly and also Reese Monaco with the Cowboy State Network and with Wyoming Sports. Kelly and Monaco have been a part of Wyoming Cowboys broadcasts for a long time, going back to the Dave Walsh days. Hall of Famer Dave Walsh. There's a
Ooh,
pitch
that's
outside
ball.
for a ball. And here we go. Count is now 2-0 to Jack Peterson. Dave Walsh, one of the best broadcasters out there. Comes a pitch. That's low for ball 3. Reese Monaco, a sideline reporter for a long time. And on the broadcast. Color commentator, very good too. His name escapes me. He'll come back to me later, I'm sure. Comes the 3-0 pitch, and that pitch is on the corner for a strike. Jack Peterson batting with a man on, 2 outs. We're in the top of the 6th. Cheyenne leading Huron 4-0. Stay tuned after this game. We have 5 more games to bring you this morning, this afternoon, and tonight. It'll be Alliance, Nebraska, my old town, where I used to manage KCOW and Double Q Country from 2008 through 2011. And shout out to all you great folks out there. Especially want to give a shout out to my friends at the station, Mike Glessinger, Jason Wentworth, Kevin Horn and the bunch. And there's a walk. Jack Peterson jogs down to first. Lane Wetzel advances to second. And now Jackson Mackey, who has reached on a pair of walks this morning, now the batter for Huron Post 7, who trails 7-0 here in the top of the 6th inning. Andrew Thompson gets his sign, works with 2 out and 2 on. And that pitch is out of the zone. And a good play there by Caden Westby to block the plate and prevent a wild pitch from advancing both those runners. Mackey works ahead in the count 1-0. Thompson, the right-hander, looks back at second, now fires to home plate, and that pitch catches the outside corner for a strike. On deck for Huron Post 7 is Colton Ogle. Ogle took a bad bouncer to the throat in a very painful and frightening moment about a half hour ago. Here comes a 1-1 pitch, and that's a swing and a miss for strike 2. Mackey that time, he was sitting dead red on a fastball and absolutely ripped that bat through the strike zone, but came up empty. And I do think that was a heater. Here comes Thompson's 1-2 pitch, and that's an off-speed pitch, and it is just off the plate for a ball. That was a borderline pitch. He did not get the strike he was looking for. Here comes the 2-2 pitch with 2 on, 2 out. We're in the top of the 6th. Cheyenne up 4-0 over Huron. Here comes the pitch from Thompson, and it's fouled to the back to the screen. I want to give a shout out to our friends, General Manager Wayne Sullivan and South Dakota, soon to be inducted, South Dakota Hall of Fame coach Kelvin Torvey for post 22. Sure appreciate both of you gentlemen. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. That ball hit to the shortstop, flipped to second in time to retire the side. That'll be a fielder's choice. Assessed to Jackson Mackey, and that'll be a 6-4 force out at second base on Jack Peterson. In the top half of the sixth inning, Huron post 7 yet to score. They did not score in the sixth, despite putting up a hit. There were no errors committed, and there were 2 men left on base. Through 5.5 innings of play here in Rapid City, it's Cheyenne post 6-4, Huron post 7-0. This is Hard Hats TV coverage of the Veterans Classic.
They just kept leaving people on. Huron had a chance there to maybe put some pressure on Cheyenne, but obviously Andrew Thompson shut him down. That's kind of what he does. Um, a fantastic closer. I termed his elite. A real difference maker in tournaments like this that sets Cheyenne apart from the rest of the crew.
Looks like we have a new pitcher perhaps out there. I think Brady Feenstra is on the mound. We've been recognizing his heckling skills. Let's see what he can do as the 5th pitcher in this ball game, with Huron post 7
I remember it being all right.
taking that option here with this morning doubleheader against Cheyenne and Alliance to use as many position players and pitchers as possible, just really balancing out the pitching and keeping everybody eligible. And Oliver, we talked about the strategy involved to take Jack Peterson out and use a bunch of pitchers for this game. Right or wrong, regardless of strategy, if you're a Huron Post 7 fan, you have to be frustrated you don't have more pitchers available. You don't have more guys on the team.
Yeah. Well, it feels like you have I mean, they have like 5 extra guys on the bench. It's not a particularly low staff team like you see with Westco, Zephyrs, but it's they just aren't letting people throw for very long. Uh, and it could be that they are not deep at pitching, like in skill wise, not in bodies.
Very good. Let's now go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Brady Feenstra's first 2 pitches are balls to Colton Ogle. Now, Feenstra, we know he's a great heckler. He can talk really entertaining, but don't expect the starting pitcher to heckle. The home plate umpire wouldn't go for that. No home plate umpire would. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. And actually, Brady Feenstra will let his pitches do the talking here. Here we go. There's a pitch, and that's over for a strike. Count now 3-1 to Colton Ogle. Bottom of the order due up here for, not for Colton Ogle. Cade Coates leading things off, and Cade hits it to third. Well played. Throw to first is in time for the first out of the inning. So good play made that time by the hot corner for Huron Post 7, Tommy Martin. I believe that's Martin. No, I think they've switched some things around. We'll try to figure out who is playing third base at this moment. And that was, I believe that was Lane Wetzel. Yep, Lane Wetzel making a good play right there. So Cade Coates is retired. Now Mason Tafoya, the batter, here in the bottom of the 6th inning. I want to thank all of you for watching. Good viewership on a Friday morning. Here's a bouncer. Diving play made by the shortstop, but no throw is available. And reaching on an infield single is Mason Tafoya. That's the 3rd time in 4 plate appearances in which Mason Tafoya has reached base, and that's back-to-back singles for the veteran shortstop for Coach Lane and Cheyenne post 6. Nolan Horton now the hitter. 1 on, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Cheyenne threatening to take a 2-0 lead here in the Veterans Classic in their only game of day number 2. For Huron post 7, they're looking down the barrel of a 1-1 start. They have a game against 0-1 Peltz Construction, and there's a wild pitch by Feenstra that advances Tafoya easily to second base. That's maybe an inconsequential wild pitch, as Mason Tafoya already has 4 stolen bases. It was probably a matter of when, not if, he was going to advance to second base without this current at bat concluding. Nolan Horton, the batter, waits for the 2-0 pitch from Brady Feenstra. That's another bouncer, and right now, Feenstra having a really hard time even getting the ball near the strike zone. He is the 5th pitcher to be used for Huron post 7 this morning in this game. With Cheyenne post 6 leading 4-0, there's another pitch outside, and I notice Feenstra's doing something as he walks Nolan Horton you just should never do. He's literally aiming his pitches. He's really not even going through his motion. As now Horton is at first and Tafoya is at second with 1 out. You never want to just aim the pitches. There's a pitch, and that's
I mean,
outside
when the opposite
for a
is
ball.
when the alternative is missing, you saying miss?
I'm saying pitch.
Okay.
Here comes the 1-0 pitch, and that pitch is inside for a ball. Yeah, I'm not going to play that lesser of two evils argument on whether it's better to miss home plate altogether or just try to steer your aim your pitches. You got to pitch, and now Feenstra showing a lot of emotion as he is down in the count 3-0. And Brady getting some encouragement from the Huron fans. Somebody just said, "You got this, Brady. Put it in there." Feenstra's next pitch is ball 4, and that's now 9 consecutive balls from Brady Feenstra, and the bases are filled with post 6 Sixers in this 4-0 game. Now Jackson Garrett is coming up to bat. Now a grand slam here would end the game with the 8-run mercy rule here in the bottom of the 6th.
They did have one last year. Coulter McAnally hit a towering shot into deep left field against the Colorado Premier team last year for one of only 2 grand slams I saw the entire season.
So Brady Feenstra really struggling at the moment. The bases are loaded with Cheyenne post 6 Sixers in a 4-0 game in which Cheyenne is in front. There is a pitch after a conference for a strike, and that ends unofficially a 9-pitch ball streak. Second pitch from Feenstra off the plate for a ball. Count now 1-1, and it doesn't appear as though anyone is up for Huron. I think Feenstra is being asked to bring this game home. Garrett hits it deep to right, and it is against the wall. 1 run scores, 2 runs score, and that's a 3-run triple for Jackson Garrett to the deepest part of right center field in the power alley. Jackson Garrett with a 3-run triple, able to record the first extra base hit in this ball game, and now it's 7-0 Cheyenne post 6, and Garrett represents the game-clinching run at third base with 1 out as Brady Feenstra gives up a bases-clearing extra base hit. And now the Sixers can reach the 2-0 mark and raise their record overall on the season to 27-3. right here, right now, as Mason Tafoya, Nolan Horton, and Corey Williams all scored a moment ago on that deep ball to right center field near the Culver's sign. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Garrett hits it through the hole, and that'll win it. Or rather, Landon McAnally comes through with a game-winning single, and that is the ball game. The Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers were held scoreless in a 0-0 tie through 3 innings, but they capitalized on a trio of errors in the 4th inning, and then in the 6th, the Sixers exploded off of Brady Feenstra for 4 runs to win the game 8-0 in 6 innings. Give a star and a lot of credit to Jackson Garrett, who goes 2 for 3 with 4 runs batted in this ball game, and that was a impressive performance by not only Jackson Garrett but also by starting pitcher Hayden Swain, who goes 5 innings to get the win and 5 shutout innings to get the win. And Cheyenne Post 6 defeats the Huron Post 7 Tigers 8-0. So Cheyenne Post 6, they are now 2-0 in the tournament, and Huron Post 7 is 1-1 with the pivotal game coming up next against Pelt Construction from Alliance, Nebraska, from the Nebraska Panhandle. For Oliver Fell and Hard Hats TV, this is Mike Fell saying thank you for watching. I'll be with you later this afternoon, and enjoy the next 5 games right here with our Day 2 coverage of the Veterans Classic. Our final score, it's Cheyenne Post 6 8, Huron Post 7 0, and good morning from Rapid City.
All right, that was good.
Good job. Thanks for helping me.
Wish that game had gone